Hey Starseeds, welcome to Starseed Energetics. My name is Ashtara. Mission to bring you some of the highest frequency content throughout these evolutionary cycles and beyond. And today I am going with your March reading. It's going to be a general collective reading for all the Starseeds or anybody who is interdimensional that doesn't necessarily resonate with that term. Just want to thank all of my Patreons who allow me and enable me to exist on all these platforms and put out videos. And I'm going to get started with the reading. Big influence is Pleiadian this month, so I'll probably put that somewhere in the title, Pleiadian Council of Light. So before I start the reading, I just want to remind you that this is a frequency transmission above anything else. If you're not really familiar with energy session, or if you're not familiar with the nature of frequency, then you can just simply take the reading just like a regular tarot reading. But if you're new to my channel, I'm not really the typical tarot reader that's going to predict something or tell you how it is in a very detailed manner. I kind of read the energetic patterns, the abstract perspectives of what's going on in the collective, and I give you practical advice. Just kind of tune into your heart space. If you don't really know how to do that, you just kind of become aware that your heart is there. That's kind of enough to go into the heart space. Grounding your energy, meaning that you just realize that you're on earth. You're on earth. And also realizing that you have an infinite soul. So sending in the cosmic energy as well. And just kind of balancing all of that out in your heart again with a neutral perspective. And from this space, it's a lot easier for me to tune into all of your collective energy while I shuffle and stuff like that. So the two central key theme cards that I pulled before the reading, well, usually I shuffle on camera because I enjoy that process. I wanted to just get a general insight on what everybody's going through. And I got a paradigm shift along with an invitation to connect. These two cards together tells me, so the invitation to connect is just kind of realizing how much more open-minded and flexible you are in terms of the collective human society. Maybe, I don't know how you really perceive yourself, if you feel like you're spiritually advanced or whatever, even though spirituality, that term itself, is not really something that I like to use anymore because it's just like got so many connotations now with different movements, some of which are distorted. But basically, you have such a flexible and open mind when it comes to just general perspectives on reality from the first place. I'm not talking about just like open mind to different cultures, or I'm sure you are, but like I'm talking about a higher level open-mindedness about how you can perceive time, open-mindedness on how you can perceive space, open-mindedness on how you can perceive the dynamic between self and others, all of that kind of higher abstract level of stuff, which actually, if people raise their frequency and can tune into the flexibility of those notions, a lot of the other little things will be resolved. It's just, but anyway, you have a very open and flexible mind. So throughout this month of March, you're going to be initiated with this kind of stream of consciousness or a facet of consciousness that really wants to make contact with you. It's an interdimensional force. Yes, you can kind of consider it as like a galactic infusion or like whatever, Andromeda, Sirius, Pleiades, Lemuria, like whatever it is that is being weaved into your field. It's going to be different for everyone. This is a general reading. But as I said before, there's a big Pleiadian influence throughout this month as a whole. It's like big part of this transmission that's going on right now. So it's going to be an invitation to connect with this stream of energy. And basically it's going to probably manifest as some facet of learning, education, or finding out about something and continually educating yourself and researching yourself with different things that is going to facilitate an upgrade in the way that you view reality. It's going to be basically like shifting your entire paradigm on how you view anything at all. It's kind of like, for me, it's going to have to do a lot with technology because that's my particular kind of field of life mission that I've been assigned. So if I were to interpret this into my facets of life, it would be that I'll definitely be going deeper into technology, and that how that really shifts the way that I interpret this current moment, present moment, because a lot of tech is future oriented, it's future forward thinking, but at the same time it helps me kind of recalibrate how I feel about a lot of stuff that's going on right now. Is this COVID situation, or just how I feel about humanity in general, the way that I'm being led to do this and that. But for you, it would be probably different. But it's definitely something that as you learn more about it, it's going to completely open up your life to a different way of relating to your general day-to-day activities. It's going to be completely shifting the way you feel about your existence. It's going to be a beautiful experience. It's a complete paradigm shift. I mean, can you think back into your life that you've lived so far as you can remember, and remember those moments where it's like a stream of research or stream of education completely changed the way you relate to your whole life? Like maybe it's in a field of nutrition, maybe for some people it's art, I don't know. But whether or not whatever I'm saying resonates with you, what you're gonna have to remember to do is to adhere to that invitation to connect with that facet, like this new dimension of life, and give your focus into it and go at it with heart-based discipline. For some people, yeah, it'll be like more spiritual type of things, like maybe it's meditation, breath work, divination tools, marketing. I don't know. What is it? Tell me for you. I'm gonna go into the Lemurian deck. Speaking of integration, forgive self and others, reunion, let go of defenses, open the door. This is really cool because you also had there was this invitation to connect, and then you had this card with the door on it. So it kind of sounds to me like there's something that's continually knocking on your doors, or like these nudges from your inner voice to go and explore something or go and express something, but you're kind of like, okay, I don't know if that's for me. I'm not comfortable with that because I've never done that before. Whatever your age is, you kind of feel like it's, number one, too good to be true on a certain level. And number two, you just really don't view yourself like that person who is into this field or that is capable of becoming an expert on this field. But the thing is, you know, your life is continually happening, and all you have to kind of do is shift your self-perception. And in order to shift your self-perception, that heart-based discipline really helps. I really want to recommend the book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Whoever resonates with this, you can read that book or revisit that book if you already read it. This is really good for kind of implementing this kind of new way of relating to your life. Basically, if you create some little habits around a new identity that you want to step into, it eventually shifts your self-perception. So let's say you don't really view yourself as a reader, or you don't really view yourself as an artist or a writer or a YouTuber. Once you start implementing micro routines on a regular basis, like every single day, just say you write for 15 minutes a day. If it's art, you paint for 15 minutes a day. Like literally 10 to 15 minutes. Doesn't have to be for hours. If you do that every single day, the fact of the matter is, not only are you refining your skills or getting better at it through practice, but you're actually encrypting this self-identity that, yes, I am a painter. So let's say like you've never painted before, but you think you're going to be a painter, or this is your calling, and you're literally painting 15 minutes a day. Eventually, after like 3 months, let's say you've been painting every single day for 15 minutes, you're a painter. What do you mean? Like, you've been painting every day for 3 months. You know what I mean? Or say like, if you don't feel like you're a healthy person, just exercise for literally 10 minutes a day, and do that for 3 months. Then it's like, actually, you are a healthy person if you've been exercising every single day. It doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes or an hour. It's still every day, you know? So then you start to shift your perception, and then you actually start to kind of create this momentum into shifting your identity into that completely. And then it just, from there, going from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour, is so much easier than going from 0 to 15. Do you get what I mean? So just create that momentum by implementing small little habits to convince yourself literally that you are an expert in this field, or that you are this new identity that you want to step into. So if you are kind of interested in, let's say, some field of research that you're not comfortable with saying that you're an expert at that field, I don't know what it, like physics, read on physics every single day for 10 to 15 minutes. And then that just stacks up. And then the most important thing is that your self-perception becomes of that. So next we have Lemurian egg integration. So yeah, this is like, you have kind of this fear, but you know what I want to highlight, even though I don't want to go into this like kind of woo 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 thing, is that this kind of facet that you feel like you might feel like you're a late bloomer in that area, like, because most likely if you're watching my content, you're probably not like a super young kid watching this. The stuff that I talk about is too hyper intelligent. Until they're older, I don't think they're gonna watch it. So you may have an idea like it's a kind of too late for you to step into this role. But first of all, the concept of age and the perspective on age is completely skewed. And second of all, we're living in a time where exponential technologies are converging, which is going to create like this Moore's law that completely, I don't know how to describe this properly, but this human civilization right now is about to step into a time where everything accelerates, and this progress of the evolution is going to accelerate to a level where we're not even going to recognize ourselves in 5 years. Absolutely not. And actually COVID is a perfect example of how this disruption is taking place. It's actually like a byproduct of the amount of changes that are about to occur. If you really think about it, now that there's all these different rule sets in place, different suppressed technologies are going to come up. And anyway, I just wanted to highlight that if you feel like you're a late bloomer, first of all, age reversal is going to be a thing 100%, whether it's from your spiritual work or whether it's from technological interfaces. Like I mean biotech, right? From Silicon Valley, for instance. So people, I don't think, understand that your lifespan is going to literally multiply, if not immortality is going to be an option. And maybe you're laughing when you're hearing me talk about this, but first of all, from a spiritual perspective, immortality is obviously an option. But then from the practical perspective, if you listen to any worthwhile leaders in technology, like executives at Google or Amazon or anything like that, that's part of their plan. Like, it's not even like a question. There's things like biotech, nanotech, in conjunction with the convergence of AI, VR, blockchain, everything's gonna merge, and basically like we're not gonna recognize ourselves. But the point that I'm trying to make is you have a limited amount of time before you have this finite human experience. It's going to literally accelerate into kind of like an omnipotent state of consciousness. And I know some people are going to project like negativity into this, but that's not my problem. That's because you're negative. I'm so sorry. I'm very aware that I trigger a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people really like how straightforward I am, but I'm sorry if I trigger you by being super blunt. Anyway, yes, age perception is very skewed. But secondly, this facet that you're incorporating into your life is actually a parallel stream on a different life that you're living on a different timeline. And so this is like a reintegration of that parallel, like bilateral timeline that you actually simultaneously have with your oversoul, in conjunction with this human life. So it's kind of like merging. Yeah, if you were part of my Patreon, this was a recurring message from the last month's reading. And this is going to really resolve the way that you relate to life at all. I just want to show you the cards because a lot of times I'm just looking at it by myself and then I just feel like you might appreciate all the art. Yeah, but I think I forget to show you the cards because a lot of the times I'm generating my own meanings out of these cards. So, but I guess this picture's still nice. period of deep rest is coming to an end. This is not a surprise for me because like March, the middle of March, around like the third week of March is literally like a cosmic reset. It's like a different cycle of time. And I'm sure that a lot of people have been in this deep freeze or this like rest and rejuvenation state, and it's coming to an end basically. And a lot of things that were on hold, and perhaps some people got really impatient with their own pace of timing. But by the time you're watching stuff like this, you're definitely surrendered. But at the same time, there was like a level of your mind that was quite impatient with like, why aren't things moving forward? Like, why am I not moving forward as much as I want to, or like not taking the action? But it's because it was all in due timing, you know. Here I see like a divine union energy. Some people are going to relate to this with this fire sign. This is appearing with the high priestess. So this is going to be a really divine and deep connection that you are having to integrate within and without. So this is also like part of your psyche coming online, like a very charismatic and kind of, how do I put this? You know, that fire sign energy. Just don't really give too much attention to what other people think when you are shining really bright. Obviously, that's why fire is able to shine so bright, or not shine, but like spark. Or, you know, it's like light, right? So there's a part of yourself that is coming online, and that is in your subpersonality. And this is likely to do with this new role that you're stepping into, this facet of yourself that you're integrating. But at the same time, what this is going to manifest outwards as an external figure that is exactly like this, that is going to actually help you stabilize that energy on a physical level. It's kind of like a reflection of the psyche that you are starting to embody. And then there's somebody that is going to be magnetized in your life that really portrays this quality as well. And here we have you moving on, literally just moving on from this corner of yourself that is self-sabotaging and literally like arguing with yourself, like internal struggles, this internal conflict, just simply moving on from that and from this level of non-dual awareness. It's like, I don't know, you start to practice so much mindfulness that you become kind of almost cloaked from these lower frequency states as a whole. And also this deep anxiety as well. I mean, the thing is, if you're able to be aware that you have a certain pattern or that you have a certain shadowy tendency, people start to wonder, okay, like, how do I solve this then? And then they stress about it. But actually, the funny thing is, if you're able to actually observe it, by the pure observance itself, you actually alchemize most of it, actually. And then say it comes up again and again, and then you are able to just be aware that that's happening in your reality, whether it's anxiety or self-sabotaging patterns or conflicts internally. Few times being completely neutral to him, like, wow, this is happening, instead of worrying about like, okay, what do I do about it? Just like go back to, wow, this is happening. What a strange experience at all. Actually just like frees, liberates from all of that. Then we come into the final row, that is Queen of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. So actually this tells me that for a lot of people who are tuned into this video, part of this massive anxiety that you're starting to release is on material resources, and kind of not having to worry about this anymore. Whatever your outer circumstances look like, it's almost like you have completely embodied this knowing that prosperity or abundance actually is a frequency. And obviously it is, but it's a completely different thing to actually realize it on a physical level. Like, you really, the dominant belief system that counteracts that part of yourself that runs the lack of programming, it's actually shifted and tilted to like an automatic response from a higher level of your mind that goes, but this is just a belief system, that this is just a frequency. And then your reality will automatically just shift from that, like a domino effect. But the important thing is you got this internal part down. So this is great news. Then the last cards I will pull, actually this is not going to be the last cards. I brought so many other decks, so I have 3 more decks. Full deep breaths during this video, please. If you're watching, taking full deep breaths throughout this video and in your life in general is basically the best advice that I can give to everyone. Universe, accelerated motion, partnerships and alliances, heart chakra, solar plexus chakra, movement, choices and decisions, fertility. So it's a very fertile time for you to create something. Like this month, you're going to be basically having a lot of creative output this month, and it's that energy of the stagnancy leaving your field as well. But here, so universe card, amazing, completely amazing, ending of a cycle, beginning of a new one. But this was reversed, which I usually don't read reversals unless I am specifically guided to read it. And for this, it's there, but it's reversed, but it's still there. The reason is because you need to really like consciously open your heart. A lot of people watching this already still in some facets have a closed heart towards various things, and you could have a completely open heart towards some things, but you still have a closed heart towards some other things. And you might be wondering, so how do I open it? Like you don't have to think about that. As I said before, as long as you're completely purely aware of that energetic pattern once it comes up, like that's really enough. And of course, the byproduct of that stable awareness on that energetic pattern is going to play out as like you finding some sort of a solution, or finding some healer or some work, or like maybe some music or whatever, or some sound healing to really do help open your heart. But that's actually just kind of like a permission slip that you're going to end up creating for resolving this heart chakra kind of obstacle that you had, that I'm going to declare that it's already resolved because you are aware of it. Then we have accelerated motion and solar plexus chakra. So as you open your heart, and it also obviously heals your solar plexus, directly connected, things are going to really speed up. And it's not that things are speeding up because you opened your heart and because your solar plexus is going through a major transformation. It's more so that they're like both cause and effect simultaneously. So this event marker is happening now, that the motion is accelerating, and as a result of that / the cause of that, your heart and solar plexus going through a positive transformation, if that makes sense. Then one of the biggest blessings that you will have is that you're going to have a lot of people supporting you with your next steps. There's going to be a lot of beautiful partnerships, alliances, friendships, support. And this is just facts. But the thing that comes up here is that you have a lot of choices and decisions to make when it comes to these alliances and partnerships, which tells me that there's going to be a lot of people offering you help, and it's really up to you to discern which ones are truly worth your precious time, energy, and awareness. Last 2 cards that I will read are Starstream Oracle and the Eyes of the Soul. Okay, prepare for a major event. Yeah, I know March is gonna be something. Don't be a victim. Speak your truth. Express yourself. So for a lot of people, you're gonna need to something's gonna, like, some invitation is gonna come where, you know, obviously you're connecting with this new stream of consciousness. You're stepping into a new role, stepping into a new kind of self-perception, identity, and you're going to be invited to really express that which you are simultaneously learning. Part of your gift is that you're going at it from a fresh perspective. So if there's some people who are learning a new trait, learning about a new field of research, learning about a new practice, and you are kind of feeling like, okay, it's a weakness that I don't know too much about it, that I'm just starting, but actually it could be a complete strength And it is because you have a fresh perspective. You haven't kind of distorted or tainted your perception with numerous different traditional ways of looking at something. So actually, like, it's a major blessing that you're kind of like a noob at this, if that makes sense for you. And so from that space, feel completely eligible to speak your truth and kind of iterate on your learning process and share it with whoever is going to help. And then we have here, don't be the victim. So some people still having this victim mentality about something that I'm going to find out what it is. It's about there is no death and Gaia needs you, act from your crown and heart. So when it comes with this there is no death card with don't be a victim, only simply wanting to remind you that every single fear that you experience as a human self stems from the fear of death. And I know that could sound strange for a lot of people, but actually, like, every single fear stems from the fear of death. And what I mean by that is this egoic kind of insecurity about existential crisis at all. And then every other fear is a fracture from that main fear. So I really would love for you to consider that. And once you really resolve it, I don't know when you found out about death or what was the major event that one of your family members or friends experienced death and how traumatic it was for you, kind of really having compassion for that stage of your life and communing with that level of yourself or that stage of yourself and negotiating your true perspective on death now, because I'm sure that you have a more elevated perspective on death now that could do a lot for you. Or even just kind of tuning into the notion of death as a whole, because not a lot of people really think about death in the way that you can. It's an existential portal. It's a very symbolic and valuable concept to refine how you feel about it. But if you don't really have a stance on death and not really ever reflect on it, it's not a good sign. I mean, even the principles of Stoicism, one of the biggest things is to constantly remind yourself of death, not as a pessimistic thing, but it's because such a valuable area of attention about reality as a whole. And it's worthwhile to really reflect on what it means to live if you understand what it means to die, and not to kind of research on what death is or what happens after death. But I would love for you to kind of talk to your intuition, tune into your inner knowing, and really consider what you feel is the truth of death. And that's going to probably differ for other people, but it's a worthwhile subject of contemplation. And if you want to look into Stoicism, it's a beautiful branch of philosophy that is a stream of consciousness that is going to be beneficial to anyone on earth. I would recommend the book, A Stoic's Guide to the Good Life. And also, if you want to think about death, you can get Seneca's On Shortness of Life. But the full sentence is, on the shortness of life, but if you know how to live it, it's really, really long. And I'm paraphrasing it here, but yeah. And not to mention the technological processes that are happening in our reality at this moment as we speak. Yes, you are lucky enough to be born in a time and space where immortality is going to become an option, but only if you're in the right level of consciousness. Okay, so the last cards are the Eyes of the Soul Oracle. And the reason why this contemplation on death and kind of like speaking with your inner child that was traumatized from death potentially is that it's going to clear up a lot of your anxiety or pre-existing fears that you probably thought had nothing to do with death. But it stems from that. So when you resolve the core fear, it's gonna be good. Arise from the ashes of despair, guard and protect the sacred waters of life, share your wisdom with others, shine your light. A new door is opening, step over the threshold. This is exactly the same message, but in a different card. new doors opening, step over the threshold, and then also share your wisdom with others, shine your light. Some of you are so shy about claiming that which you were born to do. So with this arise from ashes of despair, it's like this, a lot of people who are tuned in, they literally went through a death in a level of your identity that once you thought was yourself, but actually that's never been you. It was just like an experience of a certain level of the ego. And it's been a painful journey, but you kind of graduated from experiencing life through that lens, and you are basically transformed into a new dimension of being. So this is a really powerful time right now for you to be stepping into this new role. And if you see this kind of going from this darker color into this pink, that's the sequence in which you're moving into. And I'm wearing pink. Okay, so that was the end of your reading. If you resonate with these messages and my style of transmissions, or the energy frequency that I transmit and generate and help you generate, then you can check out my Patreon. I do a lot of in-depth energy work there, a lot of exclusive readings and also activations, energetic sessions, and meditations. Thank you so much once again for tuning in, and I will see you guys next month. Sending so much love. Bye.